This story actually began 2 years ago. A Montgomery County police officer plowed into a woman in a municipal parking lot, and Action News has now obtained exclusive video of the accident. Investigative reporter Chad Pradelli sat down with the victim and dug through all kinds of records throughout the Delaware Valley to find out exactly what happened, really to get the story behind the story.
Yeah, Jim, the officer clearly didn't see the pedestrian, but why? We wanted to know what this officer was doing. Was he on his phone? We tried to get answers, and we warn you, the accident is graphic. It was a warm June night.
Now, before I continue, first of all, welcome everyone. I am Leroy Truth, because the truth of recording our public officials in the course of their duty and holding them accountable shall set us free. Now, this is a disturbing story. And as you watch this video, I want you to imagine what this cop was doing. Because this cop, he plows into this woman in broad daylight with no obstructions whatsoever. And guess what the cops do? Are you surprised by this? I think not. Even though she was a complete victim here of being run over by a cop, most likely not paying attention. I'm guessing he was on his cell phone. Put in the comments what you think about that. Not only was she a victim, the cops then tried to blame her.
It was a warm June night. Upper Merion Township's annual Concerts Under the Stars series was underway. Natasha Shahu walked along cars in a parking lot when this happened.
Very lucky I am alive.
Shahu describes the accident like a tornado hitting. On the video, she staggers up, clearly in pain, and asks Officer James Siegfried, "Didn't you see me?"
He told me I hit you. I said I'm gonna die. Either the guy's on an ambulance. I said, are you sure I'm gonna survive? I don't want it to die, I'm too young. I remember those words.
My client, Mrs. Shahu, is wearing a bright yellow top. There are no obstructions. There's absolutely no reason that if this gentleman was paying attention, that he couldn't have avoided this accident.
Let's pause there for a minute, because I'm going to show you, I did some research on Google Earth, and I'm going to show you, this will put context to where this officer hit this woman. Now check this out. Now, see what we got here. This line area here, where I'm pointing my mouse, that's where she was hit. The cops are saying she was inside the lot. She wasn't here. She was on the line. And here, I'll show you another look here. And again, look at this. This right here, there's a line. And the cop is pulling from here. Here's my mouse here. And coming right here. There's no way he couldn't have seen her, because, of course, she had a very bright yellow shirt on that doesn't blend in with the freaking environment. So you tell me, seeing this context of these two photographs here, and the cop is driving here. So my mouse is here, driving here, driving here, driving here, and that's where he hits her right here.
Attorney Todd Jacobs brought the video to Action News. We reviewed it and determined it to be simply an accident. But a closer look at the police report, and it seems investigators are trying to blame the 53-year-old for being mowed down.
This is what the freaking cops do. Have you ever known a cop or a police agency to say, we take 100% responsibility, we fucked up? Maybe they won't say fucked up. It would be great if they did, just be clear and direct. But we were wrong. We were wrong. That person did not deserve to be hit, did not deserve to be mowed down. It was not her responsibility to make sure the cop was paying attention with that multi-thousand-pound vehicle as it mowed her down. Continuing.
When attorney Todd Jacobs brought the video to Action News, we reviewed it and determined it to be simply an accident. But a closer look at the police report, and it seems investigators are trying to blame the 53-year-old for being mowed down. The police report states Officer Siegfried admits he didn't see Shahu, but the majority of it focuses on the parking lot being clearly a restricted area.
They take a statement and prepare a police report, which frankly is one of the most self-serving, biased documents I've read in 12 years of practicing law.
Shahu had just left the summer concert at the Township building with her husband, daughter, and grandkids. The Township's public parking lot was bustling with families. An ice cream truck even patrolled the grounds. Officer Siegfried, at one point, stops to allow a dad and his child pass by.
Now stop, because there's a lot to unpack here. Initially, the reporter used very strong terms that the cop plowed into her. Now they are subtly attempting to get you on the side of the cops. He let a father with a young child pass by. That is eliciting compassion and care for the cop. Just report the fucking news. But they have an agenda, is to protect the cops. It's subtle and it's blatant all at the same time.
The victim says the concert had just ended. She was helping her daughter and young grandchildren get to their car. Her husband was in an upper parking lot. He told her it was congested and he couldn't get to her. So she tried to make her way to him. And then...
Now you got to imagine that that's not what the scene was, what you just saw in that parking lot from the news. It was congested. This is a big summer concert. You know, we've all been to summer concerts. The cars are back to back. It could take hours to leave a parking lot. And so imagine the reality of it, not the sparse parking lot there.
And got lost. And she says she didn't realize she was in a restricted area.
Now pause. Now Google takes the signs off. I don't see the signs in the Google Earth pictures, but I don't see a restricted area there. Now, maybe I'm wrong, but regardless of whether it was a restricted area or not, she got confused. She got lost among the fray, and she went to that particular area. But I don't see any signs there that it's restricted. She didn't go inside that place where the crack is in the road. And they're supporting the cops every way possible, subtly, but not subtly.
Simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time in no way permits an officer to run you down with his vehicle.
Bingo. Regardless. But here's the thing. Reporters from, I think it's ABC News, don't take the freaking cop's words for it, that she was actually in a restricted area. Now, again, I don't know for a fact if she was or not, but it seems from what I've seen in Google Earth that she wasn't. But regardless of that, it was 100% the cop's fault. Even if she was in a restricted area, which obviously she did not do on purpose or intentionally, that does not release the driver of any vehicle from responsibility when they run into a human being with said vehicle. If you or I did that and we went to court and told the judge, oh, it was their fault because they shouldn't have been there, when we have 100% clear view on a beautiful, bright summer sunny day with someone who looks like freaking sun with their yellow, beautiful, flowery top on, you can't miss that. We wouldn't just be laughed out of court. We would be probably sentenced with prejudice for bringing something up like victim shaming right there. Continuing.
Upper Merion police and a private attorney retained by the township declined comment, citing pending litigation. Action News submitted right-to-know requests to Camden County, Wilmington, and Philadelphia police departments to find out how often police hit pedestrians. We found them to be rare. Shahu says she suffered a broken hand, torn ankle tendon, along with months of back and neck pain. She says she incurred $30,000 in medical expenses. She and her attorney say the township has only offered $20,000.
The township...
Can you believe how stupid the township is? If they wanted to make this go away, which they usually do, they would have offered to at least pay her medical bills, maybe with 10 grand. I wouldn't have accepted that. I would have sued the shit out of them. Anyway, but strategically speaking, that was really dumb. Story probably would have gone away.
Here has been unfair.
And the sign entering the police parking lot says police only, but does that mean just vehicles or also pedestrians? We had many questions, but again, police are not commenting because of the pending litigation.
Any idea at all how long this litigation is going to take? I guess it's hard to know.
It's tough to say in civil matters. Right. It could drag out or it could be settled rather quickly.
You'll keep on it?
Yes.
Thanks.
All right.
Thank you.
And let's see if that reporter follows up. I think not will be the case. And I've been researching, looking for an outcome because the woman did file a lawsuit, but I have seen no outcome. And if any of you find anything, let me know. Email me at leroytruth247@gmail.com. Now, woman was hit by Pennsylvania cop car, sues, and it sparks blame game. And this comes to you from penlive.com. Now, even though this incident happened a few years ago, it came across my desk yesterday when a friend of mine sent me an Instagram link to the violent mowing down of this woman. Now, I was looking all over to find, after she sued, because she did sue, if she won or lost the lawsuit. And I haven't found anything. So it could still be pending. As we know, the courts do not run swiftly in the United States. Now, one thing which is extremely important, woman hit by a Pennsylvania cop car, and she sues, it sparks a blame game. Can you believe this? There's freaking video of the cop plowing into her, mowing her down in broad daylight while she has a super bright shirt on, and they are still attempting to blame the victim. Imagine if there was no body camera, or actually dash camera in this case. She would be probably getting a ticket for numerous things, including being sued and charged for damaging the police car, traumatizing the officer who probably needed 6 months of paid time off, therapy, lots of hugs from his therapist and his dentist and his milkman. Thank God there was a dash cam that didn't mysteriously disappear. Let's continue with details. And by the way, this is from penlive.com. penlive.com. A woman violently struck by a police car while walking in a municipal parking lot says she's lucky to be alive. Now she was suing the department over the mishap. A 6 ABC reports Natasha Shahu, 53, says she was struck and injured by an Upper Merion Township police car as she walked along cars in a township parking lot during the township's concert Under the Stars. And by the way, this is in King of Prussia, Pennsylvania. Yeah, very strange name. Cool name, though. The dash cam from the police car shows Shahu being struck violently from behind, her hands going up upon impact, and then collapsing onto the pavement in the June 2017 incident. Now, this article is from 2019 because it took that long, apparently, for the dust to settle so she could sue. It appears from the dash cam video, which 6 ABC obtained and displays here, that the officer did not see the woman. You think? You all saw the video. And I even did some close-ups that wasn't in the original report. And I showed the Google Earth. You get context to things. There's one person responsible. It doesn't take me 5 years or 7 years to determine guilt here. We see video is truth. As people say, there's their side, the other side, and the truth. Well, guess what? The video shows the truth. And what I showed you with Google Earth gives you context because, as Leroy Truth, of course, I love the truth. The light of truth shall hold people accountable who need to be held accountable. But exactly who is to blame in the incident is now the subject of a court case in Montgomery County, sparked by Shahu's lawsuit for unspecified damages in the case. That in a society that claims to be enlightened and intelligent, that this would even be a question, that court would even entertain who's at fault here is nuts. And of course, we got to do due process. I'm not saying that. So for any trolls out there, we don't want due process. Yes, due process. But it shouldn't take months or years. Whatever happened to swift justice? Isn't that in the Constitution somewhere? Details from 6 ABC's investigation into the case. My client, Mrs. Shahu, who was wearing a bright yellow top and white pants, there are no obstructions. I'll repeat that. There are no obstructions. You saw it with your own eyes. There's absolutely no reason that if this gentleman was paying attention, that he couldn't have avoided this accident. Attorney Todd Jacobs told the news station. Now remember, ladies and gentlemen, I've gotten a ticket simply for holding my cell phone in my hand. I wasn't even on the cell phone. Many of you have gotten tickets, either being on the cell phone or even holding it. Now, again, I don't recommend being on a cell phone when you're driving by any means. Use hands-free. But rules for thee and not for me is how the cops live, and we die from that. I bet that cop's given dozens or hundreds of tickets, but doesn't even think a thing about being on the phone himself. Now, I'm not saying he was. We don't know that for a fact. But just positing some suggestions based upon the information we have, that's pretty highly probable. Unless he happened to have a blow-up doll or something that he had next to him and it accidentally fell onto the floor and he was looking to pick that up from the floor and didn't pay attention in that moment. Continuing. But 6 ABC says the police report in the case suggests police are trying to blame Shahu for being mowed down in the police parking lot. Writing, the police report states Officer James Siegfried, that is the officer's name, James Siegfried, admits he didn't see Shahu. So what was he doing? But the majority of the report focuses on the police parking lot being clearly a restricted area. I've seen things in the news where someone was hit by another car and they were the victim, but the media paints them and the police paint them as the perpetrator because they didn't have their seatbelt on. No relevance whatsoever to being hit by another car. That's what the cops and the media like to do. This report seems to be pretty good so far, though. The sign entering the police parking lot reads, police only. But it's not clear if that means just vehicles or also pedestrians. Plus, there's thousands and thousands of people all over this public space, this public area. This woman obviously didn't do anything intentionally to enter restricted space. Jacobs called the police report one of the most self-serving, biased documents I've read in 12 years of practicing law, 6ABC writes, adding, Jacobs said, I would say that simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time in no way permits an officer to run you down with his vehicle. I'm going to say that again. It's so important. I would say that simply being in the wrong place at the wrong time in no way permits an officer to run you down with his vehicle. That's simple enough. Upper Merion Police, of which he is part of, Upper Merion Police, and its private attorney declined to comment, citing pending litigation. They always hide behind that shit. Shahu said she suffered a broken hand, torn ankle tendon, along with months of back and neck pain, and probably lifelong back and neck pain, because when she was hit by the car, her back bent over in a C. Our backs don't do that. And by the way, sometimes when people are hit fatally injured, they will, with adrenaline, they'll walk up and walk a little bit. 30 seconds later, they drop dead. That cop knew nothing about medical attention to this woman. He just hit her. A friend of mine yesterday, I showed him this video that you saw. He said, as an EMT, you keep them there. You keep them stable, immobile. If she has a fractured spine, fractured neck, broken anything, you leave them. He actually manhandled her and pushed her with her elbow to go to the side. They are so incredibly inept and incompetent at any aspect of their jobs, including driving, the most basic aspect. I think the number one cause of death of cops is not being killed by people. I think it's vehicle accidents. And by the way, did you know this stat? 41% of police officers who are killed in traffic accidents or vehicle accidents each year They weren't wearing their seatbelt. But they'll give us a lot of seatbelt tickets. Continuing. She's incurred $30,000 in medical expenses, but she and her attorney tell 6ABC the township has offered only around $20,000 to settle this case. Said Shahu, I'm very lucky I'm alive. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen, the information, the truth as we understand it in this moment. What do you say? Who's at fault there? Is the officer completely at fault? Is she at fault? Should she win? And what do you think of how the TV station as well as this article skewed things? Did it support the cop? Did it support her? Or did it just report facts? This is Leroy Truth. I appreciate you. Always record the police. Wherever you go, record the police. And I thank you so much for supporting my channel. Please like this video, subscribe to my channel, ask your friends to subscribe as we are a fast, up-and-coming and growing channel so we can get the word out to even more people and create police reform once and for all in the United States of America. What used to be the land of the free and the home of the brave, that became the land of the fee and the home of the slave. Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back to the land of the free and the home of the brave. I'm Leroy Truth, and I approve this message.